How you guys doing? Many things of importance in reference to sports or different types of sports, such as the Olympics or any other sports that I've played in. Some people would say, or they'd want to know what Olympic sports I might have performed in, and somebody wants me to say hello, Carl Lewis. How you doing? And how you doing? And hello in reference to the sports of the Olympics. And NFL, NBA, and MLB, and hello, baseball. Hello, Pete Rose. Hello, Cincinnati Reds, LA Dodgers. Hello, Dan Reeves. Hello, in reference to Tom Landry and other people in sports and history. And hello, Dick Butkus. And hello, in reference to Mike Ditka. And hello, in reference to Jimmy Johnson and all the other individuals in the NFL. Of course, there's a lot of names, of course, to mention. A lot of people. Hello, in reference to the Miami Dolphins. Hello, Mark Duper and Mark Clayton. And hello, Dan Marino. And hello, Joe Montana. And hello, Jerry Rice, of course. How you doing? And hello, in reference to Randy Moss and all the people. The game's a game. It's a particular history of competition. And, people will have their conversations on the field. People have their conversations in the huddle. People have the history of things in reference to sports. Hello, Steve Largent and the Seattle Seahawks, and a lot of football linemen and defensive backs and defensive line. How you guys doing in reference to the history of NFL? Hello, basketball and the history of sports, and all the different positions of basketball and history. And some people want to know what positions I might have played. And hello, in reference to the Denver Broncos and the and hello, Cleveland Browns, and hello, Bernie Kosar, and hello, in reference to Ronnie Lott and Mark Jackson, in reference to Denver Broncos. That's right. In reference to history of defensive backs, linebackers, and particulars of things of different players, different teams, and the history. And somebody wanted to know if I had played on any of those teams or any teams that I've played on. Hello, LA Raiders, and hello, in reference to Rocket Ismail. Hello, in reference to Tim Brown, and hello, Jet, and in reference to individuals of sports. And hello, Howie Long. Hello, Carl Mecklenburg. I hope you all are staying in good shape, of course. You guys know I got an injured shoulder, but, I own the sports teams of my mother and father, all the different sports teams that my parents owned, of course. And that's just general information. And hello, New York Jets and Giants. And hello, Phil Simms. And hello, Joe Morris. And all the other sports teams and players that played on teams. The game itself is a great game. It's a great, history of things. But, back to the point of somebody wanted to know if I played in sports or how old I was, if I played in the NFL. Like when I was young, my mother was trying to put me in the NFL, and of course I loved football. I was probably one of the youngest players that ever played in the NFL, someone might say. I was kind of little too, but I had to put my muscles on, had to gain weight, because I was real little, But, I was kind of fast. So some people say my mother tried to put me in the NFL, after I was little and I had been out of a coma and healed from my injuries, of course, from when the government attacked me when I was a little boy. The point of information, some people thought I was like 13 years old after coming out of a coma. I was still little when I was in a coma I'd been shot and injured by dirty government when they tried to steal my mother and father's estates when I was a little boy. So it's kind of a long story in reference to, history of movies, TV shows, music, and, particulars of sports. People want to know if I played tennis or golf, or back to the point of baseball or football or basketball, and different, if why I'd have to dress up as a different athlete. It's usually for particulars of my parents having investments in different sports, different teams. So a lot of times, my parents would want me to play. Well, my mother, because my father was frozen, but in reference to the information of when my mother was alive and I played on sports teams, I was kind of young. I was like, I started, my mother tried to put me into sports when I was like 13 in the NFL, but I was kind of too light for that, I guess. Even with muscles on, I was still kind of light. So then I kind of waited a little longer, played a little, I guess, but then waited till I was like 15 years old or something. But my mother had investments in the teams, and my father had investments in the company teams, and which my father owned, which I'm the owner of my mother and father's estates. But, in reference to somebody wants to know, somebody communicate about Olympic gold medals, why I'd have to perform under a different name or what different names I've performed under, because of the different sports, the different history, the different investments that my parents had in, the companies and sports teams and particulars of things. So it's kind of something that, people would like to know, the collaboration of information, what names I've played under, what teams I played for, and what positions I played in sports. Whether I played running back, defensive back, wide receiver, or, particulars of, linebacker or whichever. But, when I got my muscles on, I'm a lot bigger than what I am now, But, like right now, I'm probably about 170, 180 pounds or somewhere around there. But in reference to when I got my muscles on, I'm 250, 260 or more, or 300, someone might say. Reference to some particulars of things, so plus I'm a bodybuilder. So in reference to the history of bodybuilding, and no, I've never taken no steroids. No, never done nothing, all natural. But I've taken Tylenol before. But Tylenol in reference to many things of the government man terrorizing me or me having injuries, but from government or people trying to murder me. But anyways, it's kind of a long story. But, in reference to sports teams and the convention center in Chicago said hello, I guess. And, I own all my mother and father's apartment complexes, condos, business offices, storefronts, strip malls. I own all the companies and businesses of my mother and father forever. So, in reference to government trying to play tricks or government trying to frame me or government trying to extort, I'm not playing it. The government has to go to court. So, they'll always try to say something like, oh, you own this? Oh, this person has a court case against you. Step into court, whoever you are. Make sure you make it good, because you can end up in prison for life for trying to murder me. You people have been using satellites, torturing me, and you've been trying to frame me, and you've been accusing me of owing your people money, government man. My father loaned trillions of dollars to the American government back in the, 60s, 70s or something? I don't know, you have to look it up, what it was, what the amount was. And the government tried to forget about that they owed my father money. They were trying to pretend like they didn't know when the government did these things to my father, whichever. But, it's kind of like the history thing. That's another subject, of course, which there should be court cases every day about the monies that the government owed my father. And in reference to when I was injured, the government never paid. When the government injured me and the government was trying to get out of paying my father the monies that these politicians owed to my father. So it's a long story, But I haven't received anything in the postal mail. Didn't receive any Christmas cards or letters or information, just in case anybody's wondering. I don't know which person stole it. I don't know where anything is. If anybody stole anything that anybody sent to me in the postal mail. And always make YouTube videos about if you sent me something in the postal mail. You might not say exactly what it is or how much something was, but you might also say what something is. Somebody said, well, your mother and father's company might have sent you $1 million and the government stole it. Well, the government gets sued for possibly $1 billion, because $1 million could be enough money that I could have moved to another city and state to get away from these satellite men and these thieves that are stealing my postal mail every day. But, in reference to my friends in sports, people that have known me in sports, people that have in the Olympics or gymnastics when I was little or when I was younger or, smaller, And somebody say, "Oh, do you feel old?" No, I don't feel old. Got an injured shoulder and my face hurts from the satellite man staring at it. But in reference to me personally, I don't feel old at all. So if anybody's wondering, of course I have a long lifespan. But in reference to the government hitting me in the mouth and teeth, those people are sick. Those people are trying to fuck up a person's looks to make them look like they got one foot in the grave and shit, They try to run people down with their satellites. They try to wrinkle people's faces. They try to damage their bone structure and try to make them look like trash. And that's violation of historic protection laws. And those government people need to look up those documents about me being a historic figure of my mother and father's estates. And my parents was two of the largest landowners in America. And these men are in branches of government that have been doing these things to me. And they don't own nothing compared to the amount of land that my parents owned, of which I am the owner of. So there has to be court cases in reference to land theft and illegal positions of people trying to steal Fortune 500 corporations that my parents owned and my grandparents. So, it's a lot of information, a lot of history of things. But, in reference to sports, somebody communicated something, wanted to know if I wanted to be a sports announcer for some team games or something. Sure, why not? Or Howie Long, somebody communicated about Howie Long was doing some sports announcing, and they wanted to know if I wanted to sit in on the sports announcing while they did their co-hosting or something, And we'll see how it goes, in reference to athletes and how things work and what kind of performances, talk about in reference to games and keeping the game excited, Like, so I say I can't really do the voice right now, but the NFL sports. Today's game is going to be a very important game for one team to beat the other. A long drive of the hard and fought battle from getting from the 20-yard line to the touchdown of the opposing team. NFL sports is a sports game of warriors and gladiators that are trying to beat each other in the game. NFL sports. Rock on. Kind of like a little history of things, Quarterback steps back from the center, cocks back his arm and launches a bomb. And down at the other end of the field is a touchdown, a Hail Mary pass. It looks like a game winner, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Kind of like, I don't know. I did a little commentary of some things, for certain things when I was little. But, I could say some teams like, talk about the Denver Broncos and the massive drive of John Elway. And they were in there, within their 5-yard line or whatever it was. And they drove the ball all the way down and scored the winning touchdown or something. Remember that game? It was in the snow in Denver Mile High Stadium. The Denver Broncos got a challenge against them right now to make it to the touchdown. The opposing defense is ready to defend them and to take the ball away to try to score, to put it in the ground. But no, John Elway stood up tall, and the team of the Denver Broncos drove the full length of the field and scored the winning touchdown in NFL history. One of the longest drives of the Denver Broncos sports team and NFL history in the snow. Anyways, it's kind of a long story in reference to, certain things of importance. There's, a lot of good commentary and, narrators of a lot of sports teams and games too. But anyways, people want to know if I played on any football team, and, some of the numbers or some of the names of athletes that I played in reference to if I played. Someone might say I just lived in a general, let other people make comments. And people want to know about my athletic ability, like how fast is the fastest I've ever ran, or what is the longest touchdown, or how many touchdown Super Bowl touchdown games I might have caught a pass in, or how many Super Bowls did I ever perform in, or how many athletic sporting events of any kind. Some people say, oh, which person was the hardest hitter in the NFL? Which person was the fastest runner in the NFL? Because that's what people look at. People look at that at first just to get to touch base with what, sports performances are, or what, stats are. So it's kind of a long story. But, some of the people want to know, why I played, if I played as a different number or a different name. It's because my parents had different, because whenever you watch sports, you'd be like, well, why is this person on this team? And he's got the same name and he's playing on this team. He didn't switch teams. So it's more like if I played, I had to wear a different jersey, and because it confused the audience. Or if I played in movies or TV shows, why I had to use different names was to be in a different film where it wouldn't confuse the audience. But a lot of people want to know which movies, if I've directed any movies or any music that I've sang or any performances or dance or, athletic sports of any kind, or whether I directed or done any cinematography on any films, what songs I might have sang. People want to know these things. And, some of the history is important. Well, it's all important, but, some people want to get a general basis of, what movies I've been in, what characters I played, what fake faces I wore in movies or TV shows or in music, or whether I painted my skin in movies or music. People want to know different things, and people need to put it out there because it's